Welcome to the Creative Freedom Plan, a podcast and membership hosted by yours truly, Michael Emily Schuster. I'm here to empower creatives like you with the training you need to become full-time, financially free online entrepreneurs. On this podcast, I'm sharing all of my best strategies, wisdom, and mindset shifts that will allow you to self-actualize as a creative, build the business of your dreams, and become truly free. Hello. Welcome back to the Creative Freedom Plan podcast. My name is Michael Emily Schuster. I am your host of the podcast, and I'm so excited to get started with this episode around 7 mindset shifts that will absolutely transform your business journey. So this episode is for creative entrepreneurs who are either just getting started in their business, creating a creative online business, or looking to grow and scale their business effectively using social media. Before we get into the content, I would just like to announce, I'm so excited to announce, the sponsor of this show is my own business, Creative Business Accelerator, my signature one-on-one private business coaching program. We are undergoing a relaunch right now. The program is getting a massive upgrade. I am so freaking excited for all of the new value that is getting packed into the curriculum. I have increased the frequency of calls for maximum support and accountability, and that is all rolling out as we speak. If you are interested in learning more about the program, you can visit the show notes to find the website and get more information about how you can apply today, join the waitlist, and all the next steps if you are interested in skyrocketing the success of your creative online business. Now, let's get into the show. 7 mindset shifts that will transform your business journey. Mindset shift number 1. You create the excitement, momentum, and success of your business. Not your followers, not your clients, not your friends, not your family. And what this mindset shift really gets at is externalizing your power or looking for external sources of validation to confirm that your business is on the right path. And that can look like vanity metrics, likes, comments, shares, all of the kind of good dopamine hits that we get from social media. This can look like, now I want to caveat here, because using sales is an important metric to determine how your business is doing, right? It's one of the most important metrics to determine that your business is doing well. But relying on sales to determine the excitement and the momentum and the intrinsic success of your business is not a good idea. And why is it not a good idea? Because that's putting all of your power into the hands of your clients and your customers. And they don't want to be responsible for the momentum, for the success, for the excitement of your business. That's your job. And a very important distinction to make, especially early on in your journey, which can be very challenging to do because there's a lot of imposter syndrome that comes up in the beginning. But it's so important to decide that you will be successful, even before you have any evidence to prove you right. It's so important to have this belief in yourself because this is what actually allows you to have the no matter what kind of commitment and consistency that determines the success of your business. Now, let's say that you launch a product, you launch a service, you launch a membership, and it's not taking on, you're not making sales, it's not gaining traction. Fair enough. This could be a business idea that actually hasn't been validated by real market research, and the market may not have any demand for what you're offering. Fair enough. Time to pivot. Find something else that does meet actual needs and solve actual problems for the people that you want to solve problems for. Just because a business idea, just because a product or service that you develop doesn't become a success, doesn't mean that you won't be a success as an entrepreneur. It's a very important distinction to make because you get to decide whether or not you will be successful. Nobody else gets to decide the momentum, the excitement, or the success of your business except you. And when we talk about momentum, you get to create that momentum for yourself. It's not the sales rolling in, it's not the people reaching out. These are important metrics to track, to maximize, to improve, to optimize as you move forward. But creating momentum for the business looks like creating momentum for yourself. It looks like being consistent in the value that you provide on social media. It looks like being excited for the curriculum that you're rolling out for any service-oriented or educational-oriented products or services. It looks like being obsessed with your product. It looks like being fully invested in any membership that you're building. So it comes from an internally sourced, intrinsic place. This is what creates momentum, excitement, and success. We need to take our power back from social media. We need to take our power back from other sources of external feedback and become fully self-sourced in order to create a sustainable and thriving business. That's the mindset shift number one. You create the excitement, the momentum, and the success of your business. Mindset shift number two. This is a juicy one. Often the breakthrough comes right after the breakdown. Just when you feel like giving up is the exact moment you need to keep going. I've experienced this so many times in my journey of content creation, writing my book, launching my coaching services. It's easy to feel the excitement in the beginning when motivation is high and you're starting something new and you feel just totally jazzed up and stoked for what you're creating. In the middle is where things get messy. Things get a little cringe when you might be putting out videos, you might be putting out content that you're not actually all that stoked on, you're not actually all that proud of, but you know the consistency is important. So you're going to push through, you're going to power through, and you're going to keep going with it. Because what's on the other side is the breakthrough. And you can only achieve the breakthrough. You can only achieve the results that you're looking for when you keep going. I had this moment when I was writing my book when I kind of got lost in the middle about what I actually wanted to communicate with this book. It started out as a collection of anecdotes and stories from my experience living on a boat, traveling in the Caribbean, navigating the relationship and the business that I was building at the time. And I kind of lost sight and I lost excitement along the way of writing this book. And I was almost ready to put it aside and just not put it out there and move on to something else. I wasn't that connected with what I was putting out there. So I had an opportunity to sit down and decide what would make this something that I'm proud to put out there, what would make this something that I'm excited to commit to and finish creating. And I completely changed sort of the point of the book that I was writing from just a narrative anecdotal style to more of a guidebook. So when I started translating my stories and experiences into lessons for the reader and framing them in a way that the reader could apply them to their own lives, this was a breakthrough for me where I was ready to give up. And once I sort of sat back and reframed the entire project, I was able to commit to it with renewed excitement and intention. I just needed that reframe that was going to allow me to fully buy in and finish the project. And what I ended up with was something that I was extremely proud of and something that was really impactful for the people that bought it and read it. And I received some incredible testimonials that mean so much to me because it was so fulfilling to be able to have that impact on other people's lives through my work. So if you're in the middle of something, a project that once excited you but doesn't anymore, it's time to step back and take a reframe and think about how you can approach it differently. What can you do differently that's going to make it something that you are looking forward to approaching, B, something that you can feel really proud of completing and putting out into the world, and C, something that's going to be impactful, because that's where the fulfillment is really going to happen for you, is when you know that you are making an impact on other people's lives. That's really the basis and the root of fulfillment, is having a feeling that you're making a difference, that your existence, your mission, how you're showing up in the world is making the world a better place. That's true fulfillment right there. And that's why I'm so passionate about creative entrepreneurship, because it's such a beautiful way to blend creativity, impact, and fulfillment into one beautiful package that makes a positive impact on the world. All right. So that's mindset shift number 2. Often the breakthrough comes right after the breakdown. Just when you feel like giving up is the exact moment you need to keep going. Mindset shift number 3. Real courage is asking for support when you need it. I feel like this one is a bit of a misconception, because often we associate courage with um, tenacity, doing things that scare you, breaking through any walls and hurdles and challenges on your own, sticking it out. So to associate bravery with asking for support isn't something that I hear spoken about a lot. And the reason why asking for support requires bravery is because it's something that so few of us are willing to do. Asking for help is hard. Admitting that you actually need help with something is extremely difficult, because what that's doing is admitting that you have a vulnerability. In that moment, it's saying, hey, I don't have everything figured out. I need some help with this. And asking for help from a friend, from a mentor, from a colleague, it's always going to put you in the position of receiving their goodwill. Now, what's so incredible about this is how trust gets built into relationships. You don't really build trust when you help someone else. You build trust when you ask them for help. People are so much more inclined to trust you and trust one another in general when we're willing to be honest about our shortcomings and be honest about our vulnerabilities. And it's such a powerful thing to do, to offer someone the gift to help you out with something that they already have competency with, already have expertise with. People love sharing their knowledge and skills with other people. So it truly is a gift to humble yourself, find the courage to ask for support, and enable yourself to reach your own goals so much faster than you would have been able to otherwise. Because really, it's kind of silly to just keep banging your head against the wall and getting nowhere with something when there is 100% someone else out there who has done the very thing that you desire to do and could be helping you make those breakthroughs so much faster than you would be able to on your own. So that's mindset shift number 3. Real courage is asking for support when you need it. Number 4, there are only 3 qualified sources of feedback for your content, for your business. Those qualified sources of feedback come from your dream clients or customers, the people you are so excited to serve, your chosen mentors, the ones who are already living a reality that you desire to create. And number 3, probably most important, is your own soul, your own consciousness, your own inner guide, or the higher power, however you like to describe this inner sense of alignment, this compass that tells you that you're on the right path. These are the only 3 qualified sources of feedback for your content and for your business. And the reason this is such an important thing to remember is because as you start to grow your business, and you put your message, you put your offer out there on social media, you start creating content and sharing value the way that you know how, looking to impact the lives of the people who you are so excited to serve, there's gonna be comments, there's gonna be negative feedback coming in, there's gonna be unwarranted opinions that trolls and people on the internet feel compelled to share with you. And if you're an empathetic person, if you're a sensitive person, if you are a little bit of a people pleaser and are really not comfortable with kind of going against the grain and stirring up the pot, causing a little bit of contention in your conversations or in your relationships, it's going to be really difficult for you to receive that feedback and not take it to heart and not take it personally. So this is why I've included this mindset shift as one of the most impactful ones. So it's going to take time. It's going to take effort, reps, having the experiences, and just remembering, keeping this in the back of your mind. If you receive feedback that reflects on what you're doing negatively, holds judgments, it has much more to do with the person who's offering the feedback, offering the negativity and the criticism than it does with you. And if they are not a qualified source of feedback, then throw it right out the window. You are always welcome, always, to delete, to block, to get that stuff out, clean your house, your social media, your page, your corner of the internet is like your home. You don't have to invite people in there who are not going to respect your rules and respect the sanctuary that you are creating for yourself and your community online. I don't know why I had this idea when I was, in the early stages of vlogging and doing a YouTube channel that it somehow I was not supposed to delete comments. I was not supposed to block profiles. That would be impinging on people's rights to freely express their opinions. And it's like, yeah, people do get to freely express their opinions on their own pages. You don't have to be a host to all kinds of shit that may or may not be coming through as you blow up online. That is not your responsibility. So let me just give you the permission that I wish I had starting out, that you can delete comments, you can block profiles who you don't want to have any interaction with, and you really do get to just create a peaceful, fun-loving, positive, inspired community on your page. And welcome or politely show to the exit anyone you choose. That is fully up to you. So there are only 3 qualified sources of feedback for your business: your dream clients or customers, your chosen mentors, and your own soul. Number 5, great art is done. It is not perfect. This is a quote that I encountered towards the messy middle of when I look back on the last 6 or 7 years of entrepreneurship. It was about 3 years ago that I encountered this quote, and it had a profound effect on me as a recovering perfectionist. It was such an important reminder that it's better to put something out there on a regular basis rather than agonize over one thing until you feel like it's perfect before releasing it into the world, because that's not how you grow. How you grow, and this is so important as you're beginning your journey, because you need to put out a tremendous amount of quantity before you can really create quality content. So decide that it's going to be done. Set yourself time constraints. Set yourself deadlines. Put yourself on a publishing schedule in order to just get stuff out there. I'm not sure if this is a quote. If it is, I'm going to butcher it. But basically, you need to create a lot of shitty art before you can create really great art. None of the great artists, none of the prolific creators, or anyone who you admire in the creative space started out creating masterpieces. They created a lot of crap in order to actually get to the stage where they were capable of creating masterpieces. So there is a time to agonize over perfection, agonize over the details, but that is not in the beginning, because what is so important in the beginning is just getting going, getting that snowball rolling so that it creates enough mass to continue to move on its own. But in the beginning, you're going to be pushing that snowball every step of the way just to keep it going, just to get it big enough to start collecting momentum on its own. So get those reps in. Great art is not perfect. It is simply done. And the one that goes along with that is quantity creates quality, not the other way around. To be prolific, you've got to get stuff done and you've got to publish it and you've got to put it out there on a regular basis. There's going to be times when you have to publish something that is cringeworthy from your perspective. And that's okay. Just think of the beginning of your journey as part of your story that you're going to reflect back on and you're actually going to use to inspire other people who are starting similar journeys of their own. What's inspiring is to know that someone else has struggled and they've made it past the struggle. It's not inspiring to hear that someone started and was a master and never had any challenges or any hurdles to overcome along the way. You hear that story and it's like, one, you don't believe it, and two, it doesn't make you feel like you could do the same sort of thing. So struggle is normal. Shitty art is necessary. It's time to just hit publish, hit record, put it out there. All right, next one. I think this is number 6. Oh, one of my favorite quotes of all time. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. If you've been following my content for any length of time, you will have heard this multiple times, and you will continue to hear it because it is an important reminder always. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. This means that where your resistance lies, your greatest opportunity waits. Whatever you are avoiding is the exact direction that you need to go in. Get out of that comfort zone. Find your treasure. It's going to be a struggle, and that's going to make it an epic story along the way. I have clients who I work with who are desperately afraid of actually speaking to the camera. They have this calling, they have this knowing that they are meant to share their story, share a message, create an impact. But the idea of talking to a camera, putting it online is absolutely terrifying. And it's like, yeah, of course it is. No one is born with the intrinsic skill and ability to look into a lens and speak to it like it's a human being. No one, I'm pretty sure, in the history of forever has ever heard their voice recorded or seen themselves on video for the first time and been like, damn, I sound good. I look good too. Oh, this is fun. I love watching myself on recording. No one has ever had that reaction to hearing and seeing themselves recorded. So you are in good company if you are with the company of all human beings on Earth at this present point in time, except for those who have practiced the skill and got comfortable with it, but they didn't start there. I didn't start here. I get a lot of reflection and feedback from people who see me speaking face to camera on Instagram. When I publish this podcast for the first time, I had such supportive comments and feedback from some incredible clients who are like, wow, you're so smooth, you're so articulate, you're so good at this. And I'm like, yeah, but I've been practicing since 2018. And when I first started recording myself, it was awful. My heart was racing. I was stumbling over my words. My mouth went dry. I was sweating profusely. I was so awkward and stiff, just standing there like, oh God, okay, just say my thing. Like it was bad. Trust me. But I got better because I kept doing it. And you will get better if you keep doing it. And the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. So that thing that you're after is on the other side of you being brave and doing the thing that you're so scared to do. Or maybe it's not even the thing that you're scared to do, but it's the thing that you are resistant to doing. Another thing that comes up a lot in the work that I do with clients is creating these foundational and sustainable habits that are going to support them in their lifestyle, which are then going to support them in their business. So having a movement practice where you exercise, you get your heart rate up, you connect with your body, and you cultivate energy for yourself. There have been so many studies done on the connection between like getting your heart rate up, getting your body to sweat, and the improvements that it has for your brain health, your cognition, your memory. So the body and the mind are interconnected, but it's really challenging for most of us to commit to a daily exercise habit of movement practice, to get out of our own heads and minds and away from the screen and do something healthy for us on a regular basis. And it might not necessarily be a scary thing to commit to a movement practice, but it is a resistance because the excitement and the motivation don't last long at all. So there's going to become a point in time where discipline comes into play. And this is where you have to know how to hold yourself accountable. You have to know how to get yourself to do the thing that you actually want to do when the excitement and the motivation wears off. And for a lot of people, working with a coach, paying someone to hold them accountable can be extremely effective. That has been so effective for me. Another thing is like that external kind of commitment. So, something that I do for myself is make an announcement on my social media. I tell my audience, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing. I'm going to be speaking face to camera for 30 days in a row and posting it here on my stories. And what that does is I don't, it holds me accountable because I don't want to look stupid for saying I was going to do something and then not showing up and doing it. Right. Right now I'm in the middle of a 30 days of yoga commitment where I'm posting about that on my story and using a hashtag and counting the days because it's such an effective way for me to, one, create content consistently, two, do a movement practice that's going to be beneficial for my body, beneficial for my mind, beneficial for my energy, for my overall momentum in my life and my business. It has such like incredible ripple effects across all the facets of life. And yeah, when I make that announcement, you can pretty much guarantee that I don't want to look foolish, so I'm going to show up. So you got to find those things that are going to hold you accountable to doing the things that you're resistant to. And finding courage, man, courage doesn't come before doing the scary thing. It comes after doing the scary thing. So it could be a matter of accountability. It could be a matter of deciding that the pain of staying where you are, not doing the scary thing, is greater than the pain of facing the scary thing that you know you're supposed to do. That's what it's got to come down to. One way or another, you've got to decide that you're ready. Because courage, it's a feeling, but it comes after the decision to be courageous, not before. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. And finally, our seventh mindset hack is around creating content. And this one's a simple one. Create the content that you would love to consume. I've heard a lot of advice before from content masters, business coaches, talking about creating content for your customer instead of creating content for yourself. Like, think about what your customer needs to hear today, or your client needs to hear today, or that ideal person in your audience needs to hear today, not just what you want to post today. Think about them. And there's definitely merit in that line of thinking. But in my experience, it is so important to create content that you would actually love to consume, because otherwise, like, what are you doing? What are you doing if you're creating a presence, if you're creating a brand that isn't something that you're actually obsessed with? You know what I mean? To me, that's kind of like decorating your house in a way that you know your friends who you want to impress would like, or a way that your mother would like, or a way that you saw in a magazine, so you think other people would like this way of decorating your house. But do you actually like it? Do you actually want to spend time there? Like, are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for other people? And the real benefit of creating content that you would love to consume is that typically, when you go into business as a creative entrepreneur, you go into business to solve problems for your past self, because who you are now is equipped to solve the problems that you encountered 3, 4, 5 years ago. And when you're focused on solving problems for that person, you are going to attract the ideal customers, clients, and audience members who you're so excited to connect with, because they're very similar to you, with similar goals and values and mindsets. And when you approach your content from this lens, I'm here to solve the problems for someone else that I myself have encountered, and I'm going to do it in a way, I'm going to do it through a kind of content that I would love to consume. It's a win-win for everybody. Like, for example, I first started in the online content world doing vlogs on YouTube. And that was great. I enjoyed it. I got a lot from it. But when it came down to it, I didn't love sharing my life in that way, in that form, through that type of media. I didn't love turning my life into a production or a TV show. I enjoy sharing my life and my experiences and my lessons, but I like to do that more through short form content, like stories that disappear in 24 hours. And I decided to do the podcast on YouTube because this is the kind of content that I love consuming. I don't actually watch anyone's lifestyle vlog. I love watching podcasts because I love learning. So when I was creating the lifestyle vlogs, it was out of alignment because it wasn't actually the kind of content that I love to consume. And now that I'm actually doing a podcast and in this type of media, it feels so much more aligned. It feels like a perfect match. And my podcasts are the exact kind of podcasts that I needed 5 years ago. So it's so rewarding for me to be in the right space and to know that I'm able to make an impact on my previous self, who is a whole genre of people who are going through similar problems and struggles that I was also going through. So create the content that you would love to consume on all the platforms. Take a look at your own habits, your own consumption habits. And this is where you get to start with creating your best kind of content, because you're going to put your own unique flavor onto it. You're going to put your own unique spin on it. It's taking inspiration and infusing your own flavor into it. That's it for our 7 mindset shifts that will make a transformational impact on your business journey. As a recap, you are responsible for creating the excitement, momentum, and success of your business. That was number 1. Number 2, often the breakthrough comes right after the breakdown. Just when you feel like giving up is the exact moment you need to keep going. Number 3, real courage is asking for support when you need it. Number 4, there are only 3 qualified sources of feedback for your business: your dream clients, your chosen mentors, and your own soul. Number 5, great art is done. It is not perfect. Quantity creates quality, not the other way around. Number 6, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. And number 7, create content that you would love to consume. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Creative Freedom Plan. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Creative Freedom Plan podcast. And if you loved it so much you'd like to shout from the rooftops and share it on social media, be sure to screenshot, tag me at Michael Emily Schuster, and share it to your story so I can stalk your profile and we can connect over there. Much love to you, and I will see you in the next episode.